Map, make some noise, let yourself be heard. We've got the Brazilian Wonder Boy, Nosfa, taking on Navi, Cypher, so show some love, voice your support. We are getting into it. This is a key match in the lower bracket. Whoever wins continues, whoever loses is out of the tournament.
Absolutely rightfully. This is for a place in the losers bracket final, or to achieve guaranteed top 3. So we are going to start off with nosfa to see what he's up to. Let's get that height control, lift that position advantage. Does have all the weapons he needs. It's just a matter of when Cypher is going to try and push from Nail, which he has already pushed, but he's gone back to the LG. nosfa just trying to feed himself some info. The Pika does come out, not too much trouble there. Still pretty neutral considering the circumstances. Now nosfa's just raining down some rockets. He won't be able to get the heavy, but at least he can do enough damage again to equalize things in terms of stack.
Pretty measured start. No full bursts of aggression, at least no one really going all in or committing till the bloody end. And it is Cypher holding down the railgun. Now nosfa did manage to pick up that weapon towards the beginning. So item denial or rather weapon denial is no longer part of the question. Cypher does pick up the heavy. Mega's about to spawn in a few seconds. nosfa has got the clean route over there, but actually that rail might make him reconsider. Oh, Cypher actually had an opportunity to steal it. I just don't think that Cypher expected nosfa to take such a long route to get to the item, but he had an opportunity to take them both.
I like what nosfa was doing though. He's basically saying if you do push for that heavy with the acid spit, you're guaranteed to take at least 30 or 40 damage plus any extra damage from the rockets and the rail. Good first rail there, but nosfa's going to be chased down by Cypher. He can smell blood. He knows he has the opportunity to try and at least clean up somehow, some way. But even though he has done the damage, Cypher still managed to pick up that mega. As nosfa is going to try and restack. Picks up the light. Goes back round, but still could be a little bit of time until nosfa can find his feet again. As it looks like the heavy will be up in the next couple of seconds. nosfa knows that. So they're not going to try and contest it in any way, but hopefully we'll see if he can contest this mega as Cypher comes around from LG.
Indeed, nosfa. His strategy is really just to secure some of the minor items around the map because he knows that his base stack is already pretty humongous to begin with. And at this point he has secured 100 points of health, 125 of armor. So now he's got exactly what he wants to take a fight. I think he's just waiting, hoping to maybe get a good idea of when heavy is up. I actually don't think he was close enough to hear the pickup. So nosfa might be flying blind here when it comes to the armor respawn, whereas Cypher is also gonna pick up Mega. I don't think nosfa knows when either item is up. He probably has a general idea, especially after watching Cypher leave the Mega room, but he shouldn't have any exact timings, and that is going to make it difficult for him to just really jump in and steal away either one, especially after that railgun sending him back to the drawing board for the time being.
Yeah, he definitely has a good estimate on the mega, but when you look down on that heavy, that's a really bad indication from our point of view to say that, yeah, he does know when heavy is up. May have to wait around to see when it does actually return, but he's not really contesting the items that much. Like, he does know mega is going to appear, but I think his next step is actually just to see when that heavy is going to appear. As you can see, just waiting that rail room, but now he's not close enough to hear out to see exactly when it's going to appear. But he will now, in this position, he realizes that it won't be up till 4:12, so at least he's got to read on when it will be up next. And he's got to try and find out a way to contest this mega. He's doing a good job keeping, keeping Cypher away, keeping the scorelines at 0-0. But at some point, he needs to challenge.
There we go. Cypher gets that opening burst of LG. nosfa overextending ever so slightly, and now Cypher catches him on the spawn as well. Super shotgun doesn't quite connect just yet. nosfa unable to really do as much damage as he might have hoped. Could have walked away with a lot more there, but at the very least he steals away heavy, but pays a price for it too. That rail basically burns that pickup clean off, and now Cypher once again controlling the items. nosfa blind push of aggression. He has managed to force Cypher on the back foot, but there's still 10 seconds to go before the heavy spawns, meaning that Cypher can probably get set up regardless, knowing very well that nosfa needs some more weapons to fight with first. Oh, I don't know about this one, Cypher. That was a bit too presumptuous, dropping for heavy, and he has to give up control entirely because of it.
Yeah, that was very tight indeed. He had to make a real quick decision on whether he wants to try and stay a little bit longer, but I think he made the assumption he could be outstaying his welcome, which, if he stayed for that extra second behind the pillar and then dropped for the heavy, could have been a different story. But, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and as you see there, Cypher taking himself out in the end, but the damage is already done. He didn't have to stack to compete with that, so nosfa is the one who picks up the heavy. And looking at the items so far, Cypher's already picked up 14 items. nosfa's picked up 7. Still early days yet with Cypher with a 71% rail percentage. Good rockets from Cypher. It's just keeping his opponent at bay whilst firing those predicted rockets. But the stack's still quite similar. Cypher's making the assumption that he will be going through that telly. Not yet, as nosfa's just biding his time, just waiting for the right moment to even try and contest this heavy.
Oh. Chunky rocket to the face. nosfa takes a brick to teeth right there. Loses a lot of his stack. But by using that mobility that Sword-like offers, he at least secures a few health bubbles, as well as a small armor. Cypher once again using the peeker. So far hasn't really gotten that much utility out of it, I feel. But at least he's using it, and I'm sure he'll find an opportunity to get some good damage off sooner rather than later. nosfa heard that pickoff. nosfa was on the other side of the wall, hearing out, listening for Cypher to secure that item, and now he at the very least knows when he can intervene.
Cypher's playing this perfectly. Even though he's only up 2-0, he's eliminating all the options and possibilities which will help nosfa even get back in this game. We know how aggressive nosfa can be, but look at this. Every single moment, Cypher just making the right reads at the right time and just pick up the items when he needs to. But he has to back away just a little bit. Will he be able to catch him in that first round? Yes, he does. One more will do so much damage for him to even, maybe not actually take him down, but do enough to push for that next engagement. But nosfa's already backed away. But this is what nosfa needs to do. At the start of the game, during the first few minutes, he wasn't really contesting the items enough. He wasn't railing, wasn't really doing any chip, but he's doing a lot more compared to what we saw at the start of this game, which is absolutely necessary, and time is running out. So he's only got nearly 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Cypher's still just running away with the items. Got that first rail, takes nosfa down, 3-0, and look at the item control now, 22 items compared to the 7 of nosfa.
And in addition to the item control, Cypher is also out-damaging his opponent by a significant amount. 700 damage for Cypher over his opponent. nosfa trailing significantly in that regard. Those last 2 minutes, they are going to be crunch time for the Brazilian. Heavy just spawned. nosfa is the one to loop around, takes 170 damage for his trouble, is pushing in relentlessly. I think he's feeding the desperation a bit too much, Lethal. Those kinds of pushes, they are giving up free frags to Cypher. LG on LG. nosfa, that was a good decision. Not gonna fault him for that one. Holding his opponent at the bottom of the stairs, just waiting with the LG out. You can so easily rack up tons of damage. But unfortunately, Cypher landing that opening rail in the back was enough to clench out the difference. And now with 90 seconds left to go, nosfa needs a miracle.
He certainly does indeed. Now it's just desperation from nosfa. Luckily for him, Cypher did use that peek. I don't think he expected nosfa to be so aggro at that angle. nosfa has fumbled the timings of the heavy a couple of times this game. Not just once, but possibly twice earlier on from what we've seen. That's for making the wrong assumption. But Cypher's still so weak. He managed to take him down, but needs 3 frags in the next minute. It's very difficult on a map like Molten Falls. And since Cypher's playing strong, it's just going to make matters even worse. It's just a matter of what nosfa can do here and if he can make the right reads.
I was still on Cypher's perspective when you saw him check for 2 health bubbles. They weren't there. He goes up. It isn't there either. He knows he has to go for the top one where nosfa is waiting. So that was that spit helping nosfa out tremendously. Good rail for him as well. nosfa currently hitting over 50% LG. Ouch! The Rockets from Belarus find their target at a critical time, a critical moment in this match. And I think that that will be the final nail in the coffin. That is going to spell GG for this opener. nosfa will drop the first map to Navi Cypher.
Yeah, I feel like nosfa realised his mistakes, you know, towards the second half and by then. But it's like I said earlier, he needed to contest the items a bit better, you know, try and get better angles. And Cypher was just eliminating these options with those long-range rockets and just holding those positions. But GG, first map, not very clean from Cypher. As you remember, this is a best of 5. We've still got 4 more maps potentially to go. And look at that item control, 27 items compared to the 10 of nosfa, 64% rail, even though Cypher didn't fire too many in comparison, but definitely enough to keep his opponent at bay, and the damage just under 700.
nosfa once again making the railgun as well as the LG his primary weapons. Rockets, of course, not as convenient of a tool on the map that is molten. Too many open spaces to really consistently rely on that weapon. Now nosfa is going to have to reset. Yes, that was an unfortunate loss. He started mounting a comeback somewhat towards the end, but it was too little too late, and Cypher just ran away with the scoreline after having complete control and dominance over, well, not just the weapons, but also the damage and a lot of the resources as well. Now map 2 is going to be a different beast altogether. This is Ruins of Sarnath. Cypher picking DK. DK, Death Knight, definitely has become a bit of a staple of this tournament, I feel like, whereas nosfa is going to counter that with the Ranger.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one indeed. Another large map. Again, will be nosfa's pick. We'll have to see how differently things will progress here. And, you know, we've got to watch out. We think Wenger has had one of the best aims this finals, but the tracking of Cypher, both his LG and his rail, has just been ridiculous, especially with his rail earlier on, and, you know, just hitting those shots when it was absolutely necessary to make matters much, much worse throughout the entire course of that first map. But second map, you know, it's very, very difficult to dictate. We know it's another large map. We know that nosfa has enjoyed playing this map in the past, especially during the finals over the course of the weekend. But do you think you can do anything different in comparison?
That's difficult to say. He just needs to stay on top of the items, needs to not allow Cypher to establish that level of control, because before you know it, it's completely out of his hands, right? Now, nosfa does have a bit of a mobility advantage this time around, and that's something that he lacked on the previous map. Cypher has tremendous burst damage potential, but really has nothing to work with in terms of mobility when making his way around the map, and that orb can be crucial, especially around that railgun or the mega area of the map. So many little tricks you can use it for, so nosfa does have that in his favor. Now, I'm also looking at the predictions right here for this upcoming matchup, and it does appear to be, chat, quite significantly favoring our man Cypher. 3 times as many votes for Cypher as for nosfa, so the odds are definitely stacked against the Brazilian.
Not really too surprised after that first map.
Yeah.
And now we are going to start from nosfa's POV and see if he can try and start a comeback if he can during this series. Cypher's been looking very, very strong, very consistent in all aspects of his gameplay. Already, nosfa's taking that first rail. And it's not looking too good to start off with. But Heavy, both items already quite segregated, as Cypher's just trying to drop down, gets 2 beautiful rails to begin this second map. And already nosfa is in a world of trouble.
Indeed, now we're about to take a fight over at the Mega. nosfa, all he's got to work with are rockets, so as long as Cypher keeps his distance, he's basically avoiding all incoming damage. Oh, nosfa has to use the orb to escape the clutches of death. This is really looking good for Cypher. He's even going to chase. Cypher doesn't even go for Heavy straight off the bat. Will find nosfa. The Heavy serving as bait right there. I think that nosfa was keeping a close listen out. Heard that Cypher wasn't down there below just yet. So instead, he tried dropping down, stealing it for himself. But Cypher was a little too quick on his feet. Out comes the Flame Strike. nosfa will succumb once more. This is shaping up to be a bit of a steamroll. Lethal, beautiful rail there as well. Cypher really keeping things into a higher gear.
What a damn read. What a damn multiple reads, actually. Everything Cypher's done has been almost close to perfection. Just leaving some of his items and going for the choke points and just clean up his opponent instead, just to keep him guessing. And now nosfa's going to be guessing himself. It's like, well, do I go for the item? Do I not? Has he actually run away? Has he actually kept away? Is he going to stay at bait? Is he going to push? He's just not really too sure at the moment. He's just got to be a lot more cautious on how he wants to progress. But these rails from nosfa is definitely going to make a world of difference to his momentum. After being on the back foot for the last couple of minutes, it has been the Cypher show. And now, he's going to try and rocket jump up with the orb to see if he can at least try and pick up Cypher. That was a beautiful rocket, just to add insult to injury. But it looks like Cypher could, and almost possibly, trying to trade that out. But Cypher, you can see there, he was still after blood, but it doesn't matter now. nosfa's already pulled back. He's only on 42 HP. Still early on in this matchup. So nosfa's made a good comeback here, but still got a lot more work to do.
It's also interesting to note how nosfa's use of the orb so far has been largely defensive. He hasn't really used it to get close, hasn't been able to make much damage happen with it, and other than that nice little opening where he got both heavy and mega because of his ability, there's been a lot of cases where nosfa has to pop that ability just to escape Rafa, or Rafa, what am I saying, Cypher. Won't manage to do so this time, as Cypher extending his lead. 5 points to 2 now. Good position there from Cypher as well. He knows how much nosfa has been relying on that rail, and so he just sets up right there, knowing that the heavy is up besides him. He's well aware that nosfa can't sneak onto that item, so he's just gonna wait for nosfa to show his face and hopefully get a rail off at the start.
I was literally going to say something similar to what you were saying, Flea. We've seen a lot of weapon denial from Cypher, which is exactly what is necessary against someone like nosfa, who is definitely a rail heavy player who likes to get that chip down before he can make out any engagements over the next couple of minutes. But so far Cypher's just been looking phenomenal, not even just this map but even the last map alone, as nosfa's trying to get a cheeky rail through that angle on the health orb to the mega, but sadly for him, it didn't happen. He desperately needed it too. Good first round, but then again, Cypher's already done a return. nosfa just considering going back to the courtyard. He is actually going back, and at least he's dropped down towards the heavy. That was definitely the right move, because if he stayed in that courtyard any longer, he would have been trapped, and that would have been 6-2.
Actually, a bit of a misplay right there. nosfa seemingly juking Cypher, making him think that he's going up the stairs towards the small armor, and then nosfa's just like, bye-bye, see you later, dropping down towards heavy, and steals away that item. Now in Cypher, still generally with the better stack, loving the setup here. He knows just about when heavy is. He knows that nosfa picked it up previously as well, and so he was just hoping that his opponent would go for it once more, so he could spring his trap with a superior stack and the element of surprise working in his favor. nosfa played that sufficiently patiently. And I'm liking how reserved he is going into these fights.
Love it from Cypher, using that flame strike preemptively just in case he does all back behind him. Good LG, would about to finish him. No, he does not. nosfa cleans him up with the shot. He tries to rail Cypher on spawn just to get a little bit of an edge whilst he's on low stack, but sadly for him, he does not manage it. But so far, so good. nosfa's trying to keep up the best he can. Mega will be coming in the next few seconds. He won't have time to contest it. Still using that plan of action to recover from his last bout. But look at the time though, still just over 4 minutes left for him to make something happen. With the orb, he definitely can. But what is Cypher going to do here? He's being very patient, has positional advantage, just waiting above to see what he's going to do. Here's him, he's gone straight through, hits the first rail, misses the second, both of them miss another, and it looks like nosfa will be going up top to see what he's going to do. He realizes that heavy is up, Cypher has got it. He doesn't know the full timing of it, but now Cypher, maybe even nosfa now, is going to try and challenge that mega. But it looks like Cypher's just gone straight for the mega, and nosfa decided to go into the courtyard for the light instead.
The game has slowed down considerably. A minute or two ago, it was still a bit of a brawl, a few trades here and there. But now Cypher has just very much remain in control of all the items. This is very reminiscent of the previous map, where the Na'Vi player also just kept a close track of every resource on the map. But now nosfa, once more on the back foot, does steal away a Mega. cypher has no clue where he is. Oh, that was a nice little flick shot. nosfa, when he finally does succeed at stealing away the Mega, cypher pulls that on him and just absolutely demolishes the stack advantage that he had gained from that.
Still plenty of time though, still just under 3 minutes left for nosfa to make something happen. Good rail again, as the Mega has been up for a few seconds now. Just a matter of who's going to push for it first, as nosfa decided to be the one to take a little bit of a risk. And oh, you saw their cypher was so close for that drive-by rail. Doesn't get it, but good orb from nosfa. Even though he's taking a lot of damage in the process, he will be the one grabbing this heavy. 2.5 minutes left. cypher knows exactly where he is, not scared at all, just waiting for him to make that first move so he can get the first shot off. But it's still waiting for him to push towards the next Mega, which is up in the next 5 seconds. And nosfa isn't to be seen yet, but he's going to push in at the last second. Good first rocket. Sadly, he misses the first rail, misses the second. Very uncharacteristic of nosfa here, as now he needs to try and recuperate again, and cypher is in a great position to contest this heavy.
That was an extremely unfavorable fight for nosfa, because him missing these two rails allowed cypher to get a lot of free damage in with the LG. And that is the problem, right? Rail, if you can dodge in and out of cover and get a few shots of it, out damages pretty much anything. But if there's that consistent LG coming through and you miss even one shot, you are going to be drawing the shortest end of the stick, rather. And that is exactly what happened to nosfa, and now he's burned nearly a minute already, just having to get those resources back. 2 frags of a deficit, 90 seconds to go. Really feels like nosfa has kind of stagnated. We were already talking about this exact scenario, what, 3 minutes ago? 4 minutes ago? Lethal? And now nothing really has changed since then, at least not for nosfa.
Yeah, nosfa needs to play some more high-risk, high-reward plays if he wants to make something happen. He's got 60 seconds left. And so far, we haven't really seen much. cypher's just been in full control for, I feel like, 3/4 of this matchup at least. Just looking at the item control again. 27 items for cypher. Pretty much a similar aspect of what we saw on that first map. And now nosfa, even though he hasn't got the best of stacks, just on default, he needs to push. He needs to make something happen. 40 seconds left. cypher isn't interested in contesting the items anymore. He's just going to give away his position if he does that. Realise where he is, goes up the jump pad. I think cypher expected him to drop down from Mega down to rail, but doesn't matter. He has managed to get away. He's still got 25 seconds left. nosfa finally has some item control, but it's just way too little too late.
Indeed, and I love how cypher approached these final few minutes. I'm glad to see that he's kind of let go of the habit of, hey, I'm ahead by a frag or two and there's a minute left to go. Let me take some pushes. Let me show you exactly what I'm capable of, because he almost threw it going up against Chain like that, but not this time. cypher plays a clean and calculated finish. nosfa unable to penetrate the defenses, and that means that we are about to go into the 3rd map, potentially the final one, because one more win is all that cypher needs.
You're right, though. You know, some players do try and put the pressure on when it, you know, sometimes you could say it's not required, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It just depends on how much, you know, how many opportunities you want to give your opponent to get back into the game. But I think cypher did that perfectly. You know, it's only 30 seconds. He can pretend, because he's been fighting for the items the whole time. nosfa probably thinks, well, maybe if I continue going for the items, even though I need to, you know, pretty much go for them anyway, he probably feel like that's when he'll see cypher come up again, because based on cypher's experience, he's just, you know, contesting the item throughout, you know, the entire course of the game rather than just 3/4 of it. But he's sort of a, you know, cypher, I do feel like he was in control at least 3/4 of that matchup. And I think I saw, I don't know if that was right, but I saw nosfa do only 12 damage with the LG. I think he barely touched it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how much damage he did, but it sure as hell wasn't a whole lot. That was just a very difficult matchup for nosfa, and I'm worried about this final one too, or this potentially final one, Lethal. nosfa is running Athena versus cypher on Keel, and we know what cypher is capable of on this champion. Nosfa, even if he manages to secure both major items, Cypher, all he needs is just a starting stack and a single weapon to kind of make it a competitive fight. That is how big the difference is between those light and heavy champions. So Nosfa has a tremendous amount of work cut out for him. And I worry for him. I really do.
It's the fact that Cypher has had this much item control for the second time in a row. You know, I think the first map he had at least 25, might even 27 items in the first map, and then the second map he's done the exact same thing again. And you know, I feel like nosfa has been contesting the items a bit better during that second map, but it's still not enough. You know, maybe if he gets there a little bit earlier preemptively, just to be a bit more prepared, and then at least he holds the angle for when Cypher does approach him, then it could be a slightly different story. A lot of the times he tried to approach the items when there's like about 3 seconds left very aggressively. But by then, even if you do a little bit of damage, he's already going to take the item, which is going to be a bit of a strange one. But we are going to map number 3. Cypher could have another 3-0 to his name. Or will nosfa be the one to at least try and get a reverse sweep going, as we are going to be on Awoken? Both these players love this rugby. We know how much they want to try and get the better of each other, and already it's been an explosive start as nosfa just tries to hang on there with that grapple hook after that misplaced rocket. But both players are right now just trying to stabilize.
Chat, if you're a fan of nosfa, this is the moment, this is the make it or break it. Give him your energy. It all comes down to this for him. He's got his work cut out for him. He needs 3 straight map wins in a row. Already got 1 good frag, so that's a solid opener. It has to give up so much control in return. Cypher now securing both mega and heavy. He's got all the weapons he wants. nosfa, this is an uphill battle.
Certainly is indeed. Now, I just had a quick look. Cypher has won 9 maps in a row. This will be 10 if he wins this one too. He's just on the roll here. Cypher pushes in straight away. I don't think nosfa expected it in the slightest. And now almost has that full control, but will he be able to finish him? Yes, he does. Gets back top mid, heavy's up, and things are looking much better compared to the first 30 seconds for Cypher.
Yeah, nosfa, he invested so much into that first engagement that even when he got the frag, he was so weak that he had to disappear from the arena, and in turn gave Cypher full control over every weapon as well as every single resource. And you just can't do that against such a big, heavy champion, as Cypher clutches out the rail shot as well, picks himself up the mega. Oh, that's a good play for nosfa. Important rail to land. Lovely little swing action there too. The rail proving once again to be just a shining beacon for the man that is nosfa. 3 in a row. The impressives are starting to come rolling in, but he needs so much more than that.
Certainly does. Oh, nosfa almost got caught there, but did take a lot of damage in the process. Looking up to top mid, but at least he's backed him off with a rail. Trying to fire some rockets just to see what he can do. Tickled him with that 10. And now gets another rail as Cypher was going for the heavy rocket jump straight out of there to try and recover and go for the health bubble and the light. Oh, nosfa almost managed to get him as he went up that jump pad, but sadly for him it's not going to happen. Mega will be up in the next second. Cypher won't be there in time to contest it, but at least he'll be there to maybe get a rail off. But it looks like nosfa's already dropped down, had the bigger stack, and Cypher's just looking to stand his ground.
Nice little rail there. And now nosfa is finally getting to use that speed, but oh no, gets a little too much airtime. Cypher finishes it off beautifully too. First spins him up into the air with the LG, and then the rail to finish it off. It was not a bad plan from nosfa. It was a good push. Oh no! I feel for nosfa. He's taking the right fights. These are not bad engagements, but Cypher just rockets, beautiful, on point. They have really been what's keeping Cypher this competitive. Rockets have been a saving grace in many of these engagements. Even if they don't do most of the damage, he uses it to knock nosfa up into the air, get him off course, and then finishes it off with a different weapon.
Mate, Cypher's literally just oozing with confidence, and it's been a while since we see him play at such a very high level performance. Like I mentioned earlier, he's won 9 or 10 maps in a row. And it looks like nothing is stopping him, no matter what opponent he's up against. Still got a huge stack, still looking to increase his lead. Trying to bait out nosfa to come out of that rail area. Right, no, yeah, but it's going to be directly underneath him. Already had the angle, preemptively just waiting for him to push across. And now he's going to see if he is top mid. nosfa wasn't too sure if Cypher was going to approach him after that first rocket, but it's backed away anyway. And nosfa still has a bit of time left to play with, but he needs to do something soon.
Indeed, we're not even halfway through this map, so nosfa has plenty of opportunity to mount a comeback. It's just incredibly important now that he does not let this get out of hand any further. That's an excellent rocket. The defensive plays just like that, they need to be on point, kind of lifting Cypher. They're slightly off the ground as well. And that is no easy feat if you look at the mass that Keel possesses. Good use of that grapple hook as well. nosfa's movement has been on point, consistently using it to just get a speed boost so he can get into safety or get an item to work in his favor. But now Cypher picking up the Mega, takes the LG fight. He's gotta be careful because even though he might have the superior stack, he's also got a much larger hitbox, and that is something that can easily change the outcome of these LG on LG fights.
Again, in terms of item control, Cypher 17 items to nosfa's 5. Cypher constantly just eliminating the options for nosfa to come back in this. Good read from nosfa, but sadly for him does miss that first rail as he went through the telly. Cypher playing very aggressively to try and be a bit of a nuisance as nosfa was going for that Mega. But 4 minutes left so far. Cypher looking to be in a pretty good spot as Cypher's just waiting patiently on those rockets. nosfa's dropped down, they're trying to do a little bit of damage with the LG. And Cypher's attempted to drop for that heavy, which he managed to get successfully. Good pineapple. Sadly, just missed that rocket, and it looks like this is nosfa's chance to get that 4th frag on the board. He's got top mid control. He knows that there's a very good chance for his spawned LG. He's going to pick up the Mega. But this is looking much better from nosfa compared to what we've seen in the first few minutes.
And with just one frag of a difference between these two, nosfa has made this an entirely feasible task. Heavy's about to spawn, Cypher has the better positioning, and now all nosfa can hope to do is rain down a few rockets, land some good damage, misses an important rail, and I think that might give Cypher the Mega as well. Indeed, the Na'Vi player should be able to secure both of the majors, and now nosfa has to go back to that railgun game, keeping his distance. That has been working well for him so far. Do not get up close and personal with Keel. He will destroy you at close range with those grenades and with that superior stack. So nosfa has to make good use of his smaller hitbox, allow that mobility to really carry him through these next few minutes, and just line up and string together a few nice railgun shots.
Cypher does realise that there's a very good chance he won't be able to win just from this one frag deficit alone. But then again, at the same time, with that one frag lead, he's got all the patience in the world to wait for nosfa to make the first mistake, unless Cypher does want to force this out. As nosfa still wondering where Cypher could be, does push in, takes a bit of damage from Cypher's rockets there, and this is looking bad for nosfa. He does manage to get out with that grapple hook, does get a rail off as well, and is just baiting out that he's going back to the tri-bolt. He's going to try and recover, but as you can see there, Cypher's just doing his absolute best to make sure that he doesn't get the opportunity to recover. Picks up the Mega again. He's looking to see if he can go top mid. Leaves the light, but he misses up the grapple hook, and now he's going to have to back away again.
I honestly think that missing that grapple hook ended up helping him out in the end. He had no clue that Cypher was there. If he had actually made it onto the platform, Cypher would have finally gotten what he really wants, and that is a big hug to give to nosfa with a lot of pineapples to the face. And I don't think he would have been able to withstand that barrage. 10 seconds before Heavy spawns now. nosfa, he needs more damage. Cypher even gonna go for this? He's at least set up for it. He's gonna drop down as well. Takes away the item. Those are excellent rails. 1, 2. Can't quite string the third one in there as well. nosfa a little clumsy with the grapple hook, but he's making up for it with these shots. Let's go, one more. Shoddy will do it. 15 points of health left, but nosfa ties it up. Mega will go to Cypher. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got a fight on our hands.
I was going to say nosfa needs to have the cleanest frag possible in case Cypher does trade out. Lucky for him, Cypher didn't get the best of spawns. He's looking to try and see if he can take him out here. He's managed to rocket out from the heavy, but still nosfa did get that rail off. Gets the second one. He is railable. He needs to be careful. He does try and make something happen. He's only on 10 HP. He cannot fight this. He needs to back away and try and take this to sudden death if he can. And look at this, though. Cypher will be going for that mega. He has plenty of time to go for the heavy too, but what does Cypher want to do here? Speaking of which, what does nosfa want to do here? It looks like he's going to take a break a little bit, just wait in the corner to see what he's going to do, because Cypher knows that he's around that area. But the question is, does he still know? Is he going to make the
Cypher?
No, he's not.
He doesn't. nosfa escapes. He was just waiting for that health bubble and the small armor to spawn, and he gets his wish. Cypher must be scratching his head going, where the hell did nosfa go? Oh, nice little rail as well. Now nosfa, everything he does next has to be sublime. There is no room for error. These rails, can't afford to miss them.
Oh,
good rocket as well. Takes a bad rail in return. Still railable. Good use of the tri-bolt, the grapple hook right there, just not giving up a single angle. We are now in overtime. One frag is going to decide nosfa's fate. Oh, that small armor is juicy. He wants it. He gets it. But Cypher, look at the stack difference, lethal.
It's not looking too good at all. We know that nosfa is professional at hide and seek as well as Quake, but he has to back away. He's done so much damage. Cypher has gone to the LG area. Will nosfa be able to catch him, though? This is the thing. I thought he was going to look for the telly, but instead he's trying to go top mid and go around to tri-belt. But now he's just being very patient. This is dangerous now for Cypher, because nosfa, in his eyes, could be anywhere. Not after that jump pad, though, as Cypher's realised he's going to look for the tri-bolt's gone back. That missed shot from nosfa is going to cost him, but he's picked up the mega. He has to stack. This is a comeback which nosfa so desperately needed. That first row hit, and he hit the second one. And nosfa takes map number 3 as it was looking very bleak at the start. What a comeback from nosfa there. 2 great rails to finish that third map.
Oh my god, someone check him PC. This is not normally nosfa. 2 beautiful shots to clutch it out back against the wall. Finally getting a map on the board for himself at the final moments of his tournament life. He makes it happen. Cypher drops a map, and we are going into the 4th one of this series.
That was absolute madness. Again, though, Cypher with the map control for the majority of that game with 34 items overall. But we have to give props to nosfa, though. You know, he had that defensive posture throughout most of his game. He was waiting so patiently for, you know, any kind of opportunity to arise, and it eventually did. But you saw commiserations to Cypher in that third map. He did so much damage, and we're going to obviously look at the stats in a little bit, but still there's plenty more time for nosfa to come back in this. He's only won 1 map so far. It is 2-1 in series in this best of 5. I think we kind of made the assumption that Cypher was going to take this from where he was hiding, but here we go. You see, speaking of hiding, nosfa, professional hide and seek, you see.
Yes, indeed. And now the next map is going to be Exile. Cypher, he's going to be watching that replay, lethal. If he ends up losing this still, he is going to beat himself up over that one and just wonder, why did I not check that corner? nosfa had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide if he was uncovered, but Cypher just didn't get the read on his position, meaning that we have got our 4th map coming on. This is going to be Exile. Haven't gotten to cost Exile much today. We saw it a whole bunch during the earlier stages of the tournament, but I haven't seen it come into play much today, at least not personally. And it looks like nosfa is going to be running the Anarchy on this map, whereas Cypher is going to be countering with the BJ.
You can thank Avik for banning it twice earlier. He's probably part of the reason why we've not seen it that much. And just looking at the map presence, that's a huge amount. North, and a 1,602 damage between the two of them in terms of like nosfa and just trying to keep Cypher back the whole time. I think he did something like over 2,000 damage with the rail alone. So that was just pretty ridiculous, man. But you're right, though. We are going to go to the fourth map. And I really did feel like nosfa had more of the advantage going on to the bigger maps from what we've seen over the course of the weekend and how he's progressed. But yeah, now we're going to play on Exile. Cypher, again, very, very good on this map. He's going to be, I wouldn't say he's going to be, you know, steaming at the mouth in terms of how that progressed in that third map. He's still got 2 more opportunities to close out this series. And I must have jinxed it a little bit because he did win 9 or 10 maps in a row. I think that's, sadly for him, that's been stopped thanks to nosfa. But what can he do now? Could this be, you know, the start of a reverse sweep for nosfa? We've seen it before. Any questions, will we see it again? Is Cypher now, you know, is going to be happy with this map pick going into it? But, you know, what's your thoughts just going into this with nosfa having the Anarchy and Cypher with the BJ on Exile?
I think Anarchy is not a bad pick at all for this map. I think that all of the air control champions actually work pretty well on Exile because of those holes in the center, right? There's so many places where you can easily mess up and get a ring out, and by having that air control, it does help maneuver those tricky little pillars down below at the railgun area. But on the other hand, you've got to keep in mind the BJ, right? One of the players who we've really seen use that champion to the greatest extent today, or rather this entire tournament, has been Rafa. Every single time he runs the Blazkowicz, he just shows us exactly what that champion is capable of, and it can read the health regeneration and popping that dual wield at the same time. So nosfa, not a bad pick, but Cypher's counter is solid too, especially if you throw in stack difference, double LG, double super shotgun, that melts Anarchy. So nosfa, he's got to be cautious about the engagements that he takes or leaves.
And chat has spoken. They think 54% it's going to be in favour of Cypher. nosfa 46, very, very close. And I think it's going to be hard for us to predict as well as we go into map number 4. If you're just joining us, it is a best of 5 between Cypher and nosfa. This is the losers semis. The winner will go into the losers finals, but also guarantees himself top 3. As we go into Exile, we are going to start off from nosfa's POV, especially after what happened earlier on in that third map with the damage output he put in, and it was a great display from him earlier. It's just a matter of he keep up that momentum, but it looks like Cypher's going to be chasing him down a little bit delayed. I think nosfa's a little bit thrown off guard, but as he goes in with the LG, he picks up the rockets and cleans him up beautifully there. Left on 38 HP, and nosfa trying to do the exact same thing, just trying to retaliate with that LG on the spawn.
A really good push from nosfa, getting a lot of damage on the teleporter exit as well. Heavy isn't up anytime soon. Cypher caught out in the open, doesn't even get the final shot off with the shotty.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no! I was still on Cypher's point of view. I didn't quite catch it, but I'm seeing his reaction. Hand through the hair. nosfa.
It was
disappointed.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a fumble there. He picked up the light, but he felt like he was too much on the edge to stay on, but he was actually perfectly fine if he carried on jumping to the telly. Never mind though, these things happen. It's not the first time. It certainly won't be the last time, all thanks to Sincero, of course. But Cypher now has gained the lead, and I'm sure it's going to be switching quite a lot throughout the course of this matchup. nosfa's so weak. I'm hoping that it hasn't ruined nosfa's mental state here, as already Cypher with a huge stack after the first couple of minutes.
Sincero adding another notch to his belt after that one with a big smile, no doubt. That was disastrous for nosfa. I think that he probably would have had to give the small, or the heavy rather, up to Cypher no matter what, but of course unforced errors like that are always painful. And just look at the stack that Cypher has managed to procure after first getting a hold of that heavy uncontested and then making his way over to Mega, whereas nosfa was still forced to pick up some armors and weapons around the map. Cypher has got a good opportunity here. nosfa, I don't mind the positioning, but once you miss that first rail and Cypher is already blazing at you, there's so little that you can do. And nosfa removes yet another one of his frags from the scoreboard. From 2 back down to 0. I don't know about this one, Lethal.
I'm not really too sure at all either. That was a great play from Cypher, as nosfa just made the assumption that he's still going to be around heavy and then making a rotation, but Rocket jumped up twice to catch him near that light. But yeah, that fumble is really, really going to cost nosfa here. Hopefully won't beat himself up too much about it here. Good first rocket from Cypher. Good cleanup duty straight afterwards. But then again, good 2 rails from nosfa here, where it could possibly trade, but the 77 from the rocket, the rail straight afterwards is going to put an absolute stop to that. As now Cypher does smell blood. He wants to know where he's rotated around from. He's going to prioritize the mega, realizes he's directly underneath, hoping he would go through the telly, but instead he's picked up the light, got a massive stack, and for nosfa now, he managed to find at least 1 light down in that rail room.
nosfa's one of the few players who just consistently wait right before the teleporter, isn't he? I feel like you rarely see them just lying in wait there, listening out for an opportunity to go through the teleporter safely. Seems to have worked quite well so far, but Cypher just has such control most of the map that nosfa is struggling. And I don't think we saw it on stream, at least not from his point of view, but nosfa just showed exactly why air control works so nicely on this map. As he lands 2 rails, 1 more might take down Cypher, not anymore though. The stack has regenerated sufficiently. And now Cypher picking up yet another major item. If we take a look at the pickups, Cypher has got 13 of those, nosfa just 4. But that LG, that is going to open things up for him. Picks up Mega. There's a small armor there for him as well. If he can make the jump across, can he land the shot? Looks like Cypher will give up footing. nosfa chases him down tremendously, so this is starting to look good for the Brazilian.
Even after all these item pickups, nosfa's still keeping most of these maps close in the series. Like he said, 13 items to the 6 of nosfa, but it's a 69% rail. It's helping out massively for nosfa to keep Cypher away from him with these big stacks, but looks like he will be able to pick up this mega here, as Cypher didn't want to challenge straight afterwards. He knows he's probably got the inject as well. He can use it mid-fight. Expect him to go for the tellies, drop down, and Cypher already prepping to go for that heavy. Some rockets there, but no damage, so he's going to have to try and keep away from him for now. We are going into the second half of this map. And nosfa just trying to hit these rails, but at least he's getting some kind of control here on this map, and hopefully he'll be able to dictate the pace.
That was an unfortunate shot to miss. Cypher just jumping across. nosfa had the perfect angle lined up, but now takes 1, 2, 3 shots in return. Cypher can't quite get on the mega. nosfa playing an excellent defensive game right there. Still risking it down below.
I was clenching, I'm not gonna lie.
I have faith in nosfa. That was a slip up. It's not gonna happen again. Excellent rail to open things up with. He is going to find Cypher. Shotgun misses! Oh goodness, that should have been a frag for nosfa. Now Cypher slowly extending his lead. 1 more rail will do it, or the super shotgun works just as fine as well. Things are starting to look a little dire right now for nosfa. Lethal. 4 frags, 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely doable. We've seen it plenty of times on this map, and I won't be saying anything until there's at least 60 seconds remaining before I make that judgment. But still though, Cypher, huge stack to his name, and with that height advantage just teetering around the top to keep tabs on where nosfa is, what's he going to be, what angles is he going to hold, and how he can get an advantage over him. As nosfa, rightly so, does get away, not in a position to fight as of yet. Good first rail, needs to do more than that. No, second rail's looking good, third one's looking good. Is he going to try and go for the fourth? No, he's just going to put out the LG anyway, just in case to play it safe. So the old 14 damage, he saw he almost survived, but nosfa finally, after 3 rails and a lot of LG damage, takes down Cypher.
Those rails, nearly half of all of nosfa's damage has been with the railgun. 56% accuracy as well, but those are costly misses. If he had only landed 1 of those, he would now be in position to take away the heavy. But he missed all of those final shots from above. And that allowed Cypher to get in a lot of free unreturned damage and even maneuver himself onto the heavy as well. nosfa going right back up the stepping stones actually. Just trying to throw off any of Cypher's predictions. Now with 2 minutes left, this is it. This is crunch time. He's done it before. Can he do it again? Are we going to see one more huge comeback? It all comes down to this.
2 minutes remaining. Cypher, massive stack again. Back to the item control, 22 items to nosfa's 9. Luckily for nosfa, his rail has been keeping him in this game. Or shall we say the series, especially after that last map. But nosfa now, running out of time, needs to take some risks here in order to force out a situation. But Cypher's already doing it for him. The inject comes out, he's left on 13 HP, taken down, eliminating any kind of possibility of nosfa coming back into this. You saw then nosfa was so tempted to go for the trade, but it's too late now. nosfa's already picked up the heavy. Mega is up in the next 10 seconds. Things are looking pretty bleak here, especially off that rail fleet. He's trying to clean him up the shotgun. nosfa does get away, but how long for?
At this point, we're steadily heading into the realm of impossibility. nosfa just isn't getting the damage he needs right now. If Cypher gets this frag, it is over and done. nosfa needs to win this engagement to even have a snowball's chance in hell to secure a victory, but he will not. Cypher with the rail from behind is going to seal the deal. nosfa made a tremendously strong effort, further than ever before in the stage finals, but ultimately Cypher proved to be too much to handle. He still secured one beautiful map win, showing exactly how resilient of a player he is. But I think that this is going to be the end, and we will have to say goodbye to nosfa at this stage.
It's a real shame, as nosfa's just been playing out of his mind. Representing South America, same with Maxter. Both players actually, bagging top 8 and top 4 respectively over the weekend, which is absolutely huge. GG's all round. Cypher will be the one who takes the map and the series 3-1. And, I think some of us did feel like nosfa could be making some kind of comeback in the series, but Cypher has rightly stopped him in his place statistically and also in many other ways. So well played, Cypher. He will be heading into the losers finals.
Lots of respect between these two players too. I don't think you could see it on stream, but in the post-game chat, Cypher congratulated nosfa, saying that was an insane run, man, that you had to go through to get here. So South American Quake rises and shines brightly. Someone who also shines brightly is Wheat. And I'm very curious